Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey inside Judge Tammi's daily courtroom, where the truth is unveiled and justice is delivered. All parties are given an equal opportunity to present their cases. Judge Tammi ensures that every witness is treated respectfully. Her rulings are based on legal principles, equity, and the facts presented.
All right. Did we find out if this is a repeat from Miss Little or something else happened?
No, Your Honor, she misunderstood. Mr. Austin shared with me what the sentence was, and it was not to close the case. So,
all right.
I said that like said the other inmates that
So, Miss Little, this is your third hearing. I'm not sure what's going on, why we can't get it together. So it's one second, I'm trying to pin you. There we go. So probation has indicated that well, you were here on the 6th day of October 2022 for driving under the influence. You were sentenced to 12 months probation. You have 6 days remaining on probation. Your sentence was not told. Says that you failed to avoid injurious and vicious habits. You tested positive for alcohol and marijuana. You failed to complete an alcohol and drug test. Failed to complete an alcohol and drug evaluation. You failed to provide proof of completing a risk reduction order, risk reduction course as ordered. You failed to complete 40 hours of community service. You failed to do anything, Miss Little. Well, what's going on?
Your Honor, if I may, I think the confusion, at least with this last bout of probation, was that Miss Little thought that she had
No, Miss Hahn, Miss Little and I have had conversations before. She stood before me. This is her third time. I can't be that dumb, or she can't be that dumb, because I know I speak well enough so that people understand me. I don't even put legalese in it. I break it down so people know exactly what I'm saying. Miss Little has decided she doesn't want to hear what I'm saying, or she doesn't want to understand because the alcohol is too good to her and the drugs are too good to her. So, unfortunately, I only have 6 days for you to stay in jail. Is that going to be through Christmas?
And my thought is that she served 6 days already since she's been in.
That's if I decide she served 6 days.
I understand, Your Honor.
Because Miss Little is just playing with me at this point. Didn't her daddy come in with her the last time?
Yes, Your Honor.
See, so I remember. I know Miss Little is just playing with me at this point. She got all the good heart, but she can't get my stuff done.
The only thing that I didn't do was the classes. And when I went to see the probation officer, she told me that even if I couldn't finish them by December, I still had to take them because I didn't have a job to pay the $400 or the full $400 to do the courses. But when I was in here last time, my dad had brought the receipt from my evaluation, and he told him to take it to probation services. And I did the 40 hours the first time that I had came.
Where's the proof, ma'am? You didn't prove it. You don't have it. You didn't do it. It's not just do it. It's do it and show proof to probation.
Your Honor, she indicated to me that the person that she did the community service with had told her that she was sending it over, but she understands that she should have followed up to make sure that they received it, or perhaps not herself.
Hold on, Miss Hunt. Miss Little, how old are you?
24.
Miss Little, you about to mess your whole life up. I'm just saying, because first of all, you can't stay away from alcohol and drugs, which means you have a problem. Second of all, you have a problem of willfulness, because you just gonna decide what you gonna do. You're not gonna listen to me. And I know I speak clearly because, like I said, I don't use a whole lot of legalese, and I tell you point blank period what I want you to do, as the young people say. But you brought your daddy in here and he cried on your behalf last time, and oh, you know, help her. But you're gonna have to help yourself, because you're gonna end up back before me. And if it's not me, it's going to be another state court judge. And let me explain to you, I'm the nicest one out there. I meet with all the judges twice a year. We have a conference. And when we start talking about sentencing for things like DUI and messing up, I say, okay, well, I expect somebody to mess up if they have an alcohol problem. So they're going to be back here. So I'm going to try and work with them. You know what my colleagues say? They say 6 months off the bat. You mess up on probation, that's 6 months in jail. They don't care about your daddy coming. They don't care about you crying. They don't care that you're 24. They don't care about any of that. You mess up, 6 months. And that's overall everywhere you go. I am the nicest one. Down the hall, they probably going to give you 6 months if you mess up on probation. I'm the nicest one. And you have messed up with me and tried to play me 3 times. This whole, I didn't understand. I thought we were this. I thought, no, ma'am. No. I put it in writing. It's in writing. So if you didn't understand, it was in writing. I do that every time I talk. I put it in writing. So if you won't read to understand and you won't ask questions to understand, that means you just want to do what you want to do. And so whatever the sentence is, she's going to spend these next 6 days in jail. What did y'all agree to?
For the balance to be revoked, Your Honor.
Yep, that's it. But I'm not giving credit for time served since lockup. She gonna do 6 days.
Yes.
Don't feel bad for her, Miss Hahn. This is her 3rd time. If she felt bad for herself, she would get it right.
I understand, Your Honor.
You feel worse for her than she does. She gambled and lost. She played me. This is the 3rd time trying to play me. No, ma'am. No. Because what I don't need is you continuing to think that you can get away with something.
So, Your Honor, I guess
She's going to serve 6 days and her case will naturally expire.
it is, okay.
But what, Ms. Hahn?
I was just wondering if today counts as the first day or tomorrow. But the other, Your Honor, would you be willing to do 5 days? So Ms. Little let me know that today was the day that, so I don't know if Your Honor remembers that part of the concern for her family was that her mother, she cares for her mom.
Yeah, she's a caretaker for her mother. But if that were the case, then she wouldn't be out drinking and doing marijuana because it would be more important for her to care for her mother.
I understand, Your Honor. I guess just the last part is that she was supposed to today have an appointment to see if she qualifies to be her mother's kidney donor.
Not with alcohol and marijuana in her system. Her mama don't need to be high. Is that kidney gonna be any good?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Reschedule the appointment.
Okay, Your Honor.
They'll reschedule. But what the point I'm making to Miss Little is you can't help your mama if you can't help yourself. You keep trying to play me.
I'm not trying to play you, Your Honor.
Because I just don't understand how you feel like you didn't understand what I said. And it was in writing. Some people say if you want to hide knowledge from folk, put it in a book, put it in writing, because they sure as heck ain't gonna read.
I didn't get it in writing until the 30th.
Well,
probation officer.
You could have asked for it. I'm unclear. Before I take this marijuana and this alcohol, let me see what the paper said. All right. So 6 days. I give her credit for today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But Miss Little, let me tell you, ma'am. Every time you mess up in Clayton County, you're gonna come back to me. Let's not keep having these conversations, okay? We clear?
Sorry, Your Honor, I had accidentally pressed mute. You can say what you said.
Yes, ma'am. I haven't caught any other charges. This is the only time
This the one you keep messing up on. You should have been finished with this. You should have been walking out that door done. Everything complete. You've been here 3 times. You got to try to do that. And the reason I'm suggesting that you go to NA or AA, continue to do that, because as a caretaker, that's a hard job. That is a very hard job. If you're not dealing with it well, then it will be even harder. So you need to get ahead of that. You need to start talking to some people. Now, I don't know what your insurance situation is or what you can afford for as far as counseling, but you need to get ahead of what you're dealing with. And AA or NA, you got people you can talk to and people who can share their experiences and help you work through whatever it is you're going through.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? Because I don't doubt you going through stuff. You're just not dealing with it the right way. All right? You can go back with the sheriff.
Your Honor.
Yes. All right, who's next?
What is it? Courtroom? How do you say it? I'm not looking at Matthew.
Courrubius.
Courrubius? Juan Pablo. Can you go get him, please?
Yep, sure will.
All right. Mr. Gresham is a petition. 1 second. Mr. Gresham, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on State of Georgia versus Reginald Orlando Gresham, 2021 CR 05358. You were before this court for battery family violence, simple battery family violence on the 9th day of February 2023. You were sentenced to 12 months probation. You have 1 month and 5 days remaining. This was not told. You failed to avoid injurious and vicious habits. You tested positive for marijuana on November 15th of 2023, and you failed to comply with counseling. You failed to document proof of completing a family violence intervention program. You documented 17 of 24 classes as of November 13th. Tell me what's going on, sir.
As far as the family violence class,
how far did you get? Did you do more than the 17?
I did 24 altogether.
Okay.
It wasn't consecutive, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Mr. White.
Your Honor, Mr. Gresham does wish to stipulate to the facts and accept probation's recommendation. However, he was worried about one of the recommendations was for him to finish the family violence intervention course, but he was worried the number of days he's missed that he may have to restart, and since he only has a month left, that he may not be able to finish it out.
Right. Yeah. I don't control the classes. I can put in the order that he shouldn't be he shouldn't have to restart. He should be able to pick it up from where he ended. Because he did a substantial amount of them. And he doesn't have time to restart. Yes, all right. So I'll do that. I'll put it in my recommendation or in my order. All right. What's the recommendation from probation?
Your Honor, the defendant has been in custody now 7 days. Credit for time served. return back to probation and to see if he can continue on with the family violence classes until the case expires.
I was trying to figure out what he said.
He just said recommendation.
Completed.
All right, so let me.
Hold on, go back to hold up.
All right, so I have defendant shall receive credit for time served for 7 days and return to probation. Defendant shall complete FVIP without starting over and any other conditions.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So, Mr. Gresham, let's lay off the stuff we know we're not supposed to have, okay?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. He was muted.
Oh,
Just repeat yourself.
I said yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and finish strong.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
I'm sending this to, I'm sending the order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Gresham, you can go back with the sheriff.
Can you explain to me, like, you know, I just want you to explain. So, how am I supposed to be handling after this?
Unless you have something else.
You just did everything with me.
Okay. Well, then, if that's the case, everything will be handled.
Yeah.
Just stay out of trouble.
Yes, sir. Your name's-
All right. Are you Mr. Hambrick?
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Hambrick, you're before the court on state of Georgia. I lost my map. All right, on state of Georgia versus Dewan Hambrick, 2023 CR 05209, and also 2023 CR 10792. You're represented by Mr. White on both those cases. Mr. White, you've indicated that he wishes to enter a plea of guilty on criminal trespass in the case ending in 05209. And is it guilty on to count 1 on case ending in 10792?
As well as count 3, Your Honor.
Okay.
Count 2, the merge.
All right, and by entering these pleas of guilty to counts 1 and 3 on the case ending in 10792, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yeah.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. For the case ending in 05209, on January 30th of 2021, an officer was dispatched to 4498 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. I believe it was a Church's Chicken. It's in reference to a vandalism call. The officer met with the victim, Mr. Frederick Hambrick, who advised that his brother, DeJuan Hambrick, the defendant, had broken the windshield of his Chevy Malibu. They had gotten into a verbal altercation, and then as he got in the car to leave, the defendant took off his shirt and punched the driver's side window. And he was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 3 days, credit for the time that he has already served, the balance to be probated, an anger management course, a $300 fine. I'm sorry, 12 months to serve 20 days, the balance to be probated, anger management, restitution to, let me see if we got a number here.
Is this restitution?
Okay, no restitution. I'm sorry, no restitution. But a do not return to the location, and that is the churches located at 4498 Jonesboro Road, Forest Park, Georgia. And no violent or harassing contact with Mr. Frederick Hambrick.
All right. Okay, you can continue with the next one.
Yes, Ryan. And I do believe that the victim on this case is president would like to be heard as well.
Okay. All right. Where's Mr. Frederick Hambrick?
No, I'm sorry, for the next case.
Oh, for the next. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So on August the 16th of 2022, an officer was dispatched to 4498 Jonesboro Road, Forest Park, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. Again, it was the Church's Chicken. It was in reference to a disturbance. At that time, the officer met with the victim in this case, Mr. Jesse Hardy, Hardy, who advised that the defendant had pointed a gun at him and punched him in his face. The officer did speak with a few witnesses on the scene who advised they observed the defendant point a gun at the victim.
All right.
Okay, no, and he was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve for count one, 12 months to serve 30 days, the balance to be probated, and it may run concurrent with the case ending in 05209, a $500 fine or 50 hours of community service, and no contact with Mr. Jesse Hardy. Count two would merge. Count three would be a 12 months to serve 60 days, the balance to be probated, to run concurrent with count one, a gun safety course, an additional $500 or 50 hours of community service, and he'd have to forfeit the weapon. And of course, no contact with the victim.
All right, Mr. Hardy, may I hear from you, sir? If you'll raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
I do.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Well, first, I'm the pastor of Kingdom Transformation Ministries in Atlanta, Georgia. We go feed the homeless every Tuesday night, and we go to the same Church's Chicken. My church was located in Forest Park at the time. This particular night, we went and we ordered, I think it was 30 boxes of chicken. And as I was waiting for them to finish preparing the boxes of chicken, Mr. Hambrick was just on a tirade. He was behind the counter. He was cursing at people, and he was just walking back and forth through the restaurant. And one of the it was three or four people be on my side of the counter, on the customer side of the counter. They started looking at how he was acting, and they said that they were leaving and they were going to Long John Silver's or somewhere else. At that time, one of the assistant manager walked past me, and I told her that I said, "You're losing customers." At that time, I know his name as Mr. Hambrick now. He walked over to the counter and he put his finger on my nose and started punching my nose like this and said, I would F you up, and telling me what he'll do to me. At that time, I told him I'd get his hand out my face. I said, no, you're not going to do anything to me. He turned around and he went in the back room, and he came out the side entrance with a Tech 9. At that time, I threw my hands up in the air and I told him, I said, do what you got to do. He walked up to me with the Tech 9, and my wife started beating on the window. She was outside of the restaurant. Don't shoot my husband. Don't shoot my husband. And he turned around and he went back in the side entrance. He went back behind the counter. That time, I guess he put the gun away. He came at me again. The second time he came at me, I told him, I said, well, you got a gun. We don't have anything to do. When I looked up, he came out of the entrance where they take the trash, where they take the garbage out, and he's standing beside my car. My wife had came in to get me out, so we're waiting for the other 30 boxes of chicken. When I come out, Mr. Hambrick throws a punch at me. As he throws a punch at me, we exchange a few blows. We not connecting. Then I connected with Mr. Hambrick. I knocked him down. I walked off. I left. I got in my car. My wife went in to get the chicken. Meanwhile, Mr. Hambrick, he's just furious. The manager's trying to hold him. He runs over to my car. My window is down and my sunroof is open. He reaches into the car and he knocks my teeth out, busts my lip, tucked my head, and was banging my head against the side of the car. He damaged my neck. I've had 2 procedures done on my neck, because of that. All kind of headaches I'm still having right now. So I finally was able to put the car in gear and drive off, and then I called the police and we came back to the scene.
All right. Well, I am so sorry that happened to you. That's traumatic. Mr. White, did you have anything on behalf of Mr. Hardy? I mean, on behalf of Mr. Hambrick?
No, Your Honor. We just ask that you accept and negotiate it.
How does Mr. Hambrick keep ending up at this Church's Chicken? Church's Chickens are hard to find now. I haven't seen one in a while, and he's ending up at the same one for 2 separate incidents.
He's an employee there.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hambrick, you got issues, sir. You got some anger management. I want to fight issues. What's going on?
Well, the incident with my brother, he came to my job while I was working. He put his hands on me, just like Jesse, he put his hands on me first. So that's all I have to say. I just wish you accept my plea and I can go, because I don't want to.
So you saying a minister who comes and buys chicken for the homeless roughed you up at your job first?
I did. Yes, when he kept saying my name, because when he say I was loud because that manager that he deals with was stealing money from employees, as in I could go to work and clock in. This manager would take my time and put it on her husband's time, her kids' time. She was stealing from customers. She was taking other folks' money and clock in time to do that. And Jesse know what I was arguing about. So he gonna tell me, I don't think you want to do that, Mr. Hambrick. So you want me to sit up and let the lady keep stealing my time? And then she working up under her mama's name, and she get a check every month from the state, $2,500.
Okay, so Mr. Hambrick, all of that, none of that, all of that you might have been justified in complaining about, but you should have been complaining about to management for Church's Chicken, not to Mr. Hardy.
I never said anything to him, Judge. Not one word.
I got you.
Never said anything.
Your Honor, I wasn't even complaining to him. I was telling her.
All right, but Mr. Hambrick, you have some options. If you're not being paid right on the job you at, then you need to complain. There are state agencies that will manage wage and hour. You need to complain to them if you're not getting some traction from the management at your company. But to keep having incidents at your job, it's just not a good thing. Plus, sir, anybody who pulls a gun should be ready to use that gun at the time that they pull it. I'm not one of these people who's anti-gun. I'm one of these people who's responsible gun ownership and use. And that was irresponsible. Where would you be right now if that gun had gone off and something had happened to Mr. Hardy? Where would you be?
I have no, hey, I don't know.
You'd be headed to prison.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and Mr. Hardy's family would be in grief. Stop pulling a gun that you didn't even intend to use to threaten somebody when the consequences are so great if something were to happen and that gun went off. That's irresponsible. You do not need to have a gun if you can't be a responsible person with a gun. Now, Georgia got all these open carry and everybody can have a gun. But what they don't understand is when they make these laws is everybody doesn't have the common sense and the training it takes to handle a gun so that no one else is injured unnecessarily.
Yes, I understand.
But you back there walking around with a gun like it's a toy. No, sir. Any number of people could have been injured that night because of your recklessness.
Yes.
And while you fighting about them dollars that you feel like you've been cheated out of, you could have cheated somebody out of their whole life.
Yeah, you're right, Your Honor.
You walking around brandishing a gun, something happens in that situation, and the police have to respond. You might not have walked out of there alive.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I know I'm right. I've seen this too many times. So you're gonna forfeit that gun. So on the first case in 05209 criminal trespass, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 20 days. Credit for time served. The balance will be probated for you to take an anger management class. And you're to not go back to the Church's Chicken at 4498 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, Georgia, Clayton County. You're to have no violent or harassing contact with Mr. Frederick Hambrick on the case 2023 CR 10792. That will run concurrent with the sentence in 2023 CR 05209. You're entering a plea of guilty to counts 1 and 3. On count 1, 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be probated for you to pay a fine in the amount of $500, which will be $737.50 with the surcharges, or to do 50 hours of community service. You're to have no contact with Mr. Jesse Hardy. You're not to go back to the Church's Chicken at 4498 Jonesboro Road in Forest Park, Georgia. Count 2 will merge with count 1. Count 3, 12 months to serve 60 days. Balance will be probated for you to take a gun safety course and for you to do an additional $500, that's $737.50, or 50 hours of community service, and you're to forfeit the gun that was used in this crime. That will run concurrent. Count 3 will run concurrent. Count 1 will run concurrent with count 3.
So,
all right. So how long has he been in, Mr. White?
Your Honor, my understanding, he's been in 10 days, so he still has quite a bit of time left.
Yeah. So you're going to spend that time. Mr. Hambrick, I need you to start thinking about your life. How old are you, sir?
41, ma'am.
How?
41.
You need to get it together. Your 40s is the best time in life. I have a lot of fun in my 40s. So you need to get it together and figure out what it is you want to do with your life, because all of this foolishness with the gun and running around back and forth, if you are upset about how your manager is working, there are avenues that you have to complain and make sure that you are heard and that you get things done properly. But just running around loose, waving a gun in the air, this ain't the Wild West.
Yes, ma'am.
We're losing too many people to random gun violence because people don't have a clue what they're doing. All right, you can go back with the sheriff's office. The probation expert is going to come speak with you in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. All right, do you guys need additional time to talk to somebody, or y'all have somebody else?
I believe we. All right, Your Honor, my understanding is Mr. Brown is now here, but we're still waiting on the other 6 people. I'll go ahead and talk with Mr. Brown, though, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Hardy.
It's okay for me to leave now?
Yes, sir. You may leave, and thank you for the work that you're doing in the community.
Thank you and bless you.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you some time to talk to the other people.
He said all of them boys.
All right. Who's this? Mr. White?
This is Andrew Tiafilo.
All right. Raise your right hand for me, Mr. Tiafilo. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Tiafilo, you're before the court for a violation of public transit rules on case 2023 CR 10706. You're represented by Mr. White, who's with you. Mr. White, what does your client plead to the offense before the court?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Tiafilo, by entering a plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. White, we seem to have an issue.
I've noticed, Your Honor. Give me 1 second.
You might want to reset for a week. Talk to him, but so maybe something else is going on. Do you have anybody else who's ready?
Not at the moment, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, take a minute.
Your Honor, I have announcements on 2 cases.
All right, Mr. White, what do you have?
Your Honor, for Caleb Brown, he's decided to enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, Mr. Brown can go back with the sheriff's office.
And for Mr. Fields, he is entering a plea of guilty. He's right here, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Fields, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
No.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir.
No.
Mr. Fields, you're before the court for State of Georgia versus Demetrius LaShawn Fields, 2023 CR 10789 for criminal trespass. You're entering a plea of, is it guilty, Mr. White?
Yes, Your Honor.
By entering a plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Fields, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On November 7th of 2023, while on duty of the airport MARTA station, the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, when the incident occurred in Clayton County, an officer encountered a male that was sleeping on the train, determined that male to be Mr. Fields. When asked to leave the train, he did leave the train, but as he got outside, he said he yelled at them and said he wasn't going anywhere. He was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 30 days, the balance to be suspended as long as he complies with the MARTA suspension that I believe it ends on the 22nd of December.
All right. So, Mr. White, anything on behalf of Mr. Fields?
Your Honor, we just ask that you accept the negotiated plea.
All right, Mr. Fields, I'm going to accept the plea. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be suspended. And as long as you comply with the MARTA suspension, which will end on December 22nd. So you're not to go back onto MARTA or MARTA premises until December 23rd. You can go back with the sheriff's office at this time, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, and so you all are still working on some other stuff?
Your Honor, Johnson's ready for it, please.
Okay.
Did you do question?
Yes.
Yes.
We're purely on page.
So Hambrick's,
Yeah, so Johnson will complete the first half of the calendar, and then y'all have some stuff on the next half.
thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. All right, Mr. Dexter Wenzel Johnson, 2023 CR 10602. For criminal trespass, you're represented by Ms. Hahn, who's with you here at the podium. Ms. Hahn, what does your client plead to the offense before the court?
Nolo, Your Honor.
All right. By entering a plea of nolo, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. Excuse me. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On October 26th of 2023, an officer was dispatched to 4242 Thurman Road, Forest Park, Georgia, where this incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, it was in reference to a possible person inside of a residence. The property, once the officer got on scene, met with the property owner, who then got the keys to that particular space, that residence. They asked if there was anyone inside to come out, and at that time, the defendant, Mr. Johnson, came out. And he was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 45 days, the balance to be suspended as long as he does not return to the location of 4242 Thurman Road, Forest Park, Georgia.
All right, Ms. Hahn.
Your Honor, we ask that you accept the recommendation, but also just wanted the court to take notice that Mr. Johnson was struggling with housing at the time. He's not from here, and he needed a place to sleep and found an abandoned home. He takes responsibility, and I don't believe you'll see him.
All right, Mr. Johnson, I understand when you get out, before you get out, try and talk to the chaplain's office at the sheriff's office and see if they have any resources for you that will keep you from coming back to jail, okay? All right, so I'm going to accept your plea. I'll send you to 12 months to serve 45 days credit since the date of lockup. Balance will be suspended so that, and you're not to go back to 4242 Thurman Road, Forest Park, Clayton County, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can go back with the sheriff's office and you all can continue to work and just let me know when you have a few.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. Who's this?
Your Honor, this is Mr. Moore.
All right.
We can start with the first case. So driving.
Mr. Moore, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Joseph Janik Moore, 2021 CR 02566 for no license. I'm sorry, for driving on a suspended or revoked license and no license. My understanding, sir, is you're entering a plea of guilty to count 1. Count 2 will be no pros. On the case 2022 CR 01482 for battery provoked count 1 and battery simple count 2. You're entering a plea of guilty. I'm sorry, you're entering a plea of NOLO to count 1 and count 2 will merge. Raise your right hand for me. Oh, you already did that. But by entering a plea of guilty to count 1 on the case ending in 202, on the case ending in 02566, and by entering a plea of NOLO to count 1 on the case ending in 01482, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or these things, Mr. Moore.
Mm-hmm.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. For the case ending in 02566.
Your Honor, we can stipulate on the first case.
That's up to the state. Y'all want to stipulate?
That's fine.
Okay. So
for count 1, this was the third 3 and 5. 3 and 5. So 12 months to serve 10 days, the balance to be probated, and a $1,500 fine. Count 2 is no pros.
And the next case?
For the case ending in 01482, on March 8th of 2021, an officer was dispatched to 6434 Bennett Drive in Rex, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. At that time, the officer met with the victim, Samuel Singley, Singley, who advised it had been a physical altercation with the defendant, Mr. Joseph Moore, and that Mr. Moore had punched him in his face, and the officer observed the laceration on the victim's eye. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 180 days, the balance to be suspended, no contact with the victim, and it's to run consecutive to the case ending in 02566.
You said consecutive?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Miss White, tell me about Mr. Moore. Miss Hahn.
So, Your Honor, okay, so he just told me, I misunderstood it, but my understanding initially was that he's been incarcerated since December of 2021. So we're
on what?
Right. So that was what I was unclear about. So I thought he was saying that he had been in here since that long, but he's been in the penitentiary for that long on a different charge.
Yes.
So he's asking that Your Honor give him credit since that time.
Okay, did y'all talk about this with the state, Ms. Janvier?
No, Your Honor. I was misunderstood that he had been here on these charges and that he had served the time for these particular charges.
The state is not amenable to that, Your Honor. We would not recommend credit for time served.
Mr. Moore, if you know, usually people are like, oh, the state's not going to do that. But generally, our people are pretty reasonable. So that tells me that your history is a little bit sketchy, such that they're not willing to take a chance on you. How old are you, Mr. Moore?
33.
Mr. Moore, you're 33, man. You got a lot of life left to live, and you got a lot of stuff that you can do, and outside the walls of a correctional institute. You got to start thinking about how you're going to do things differently, dude.
Yes, ma'am.
I know this is not the best use of your life and time.
No, ma'am.
You got kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Your kids need to see you. They need to touch you. They need to be with you.
I'm trying my hardest to get back to children before Christmas.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, Your Honor, if in light of the misunderstanding on, I guess on my part about how much time he had actually served, perhaps it would be better to have for me to have a different conversation with Mr. Moore.
Okay, well, if y'all don't want to do the plea, that's fine. Let me know what you want to do, or if you want to hold it for a few minutes and then come back, that's fine too.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I mean, sometimes the communication, the information is not communicated properly. Mr. Moore, I want you to really, no matter what happens with this plea, I want you to really start thinking about how you're living and the choices you're making, because you got kids out there and they need you to make some different choices, because you don't want them to grow up saying that, you know, I had the opportunity to have a dad, but he didn't make the right choices to be in my life.
Yes,
You don't
ma'am.
want that. Okay. All right. So talk to your attorney. Who's next?
Your Honor, I just think Mr. White is talking to Miss Williams, and then that's it.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Moore, you're already sworn, and we were in the middle of discussing your sentencing. Is anything changed?
Yes, Your Honor. So on the first case on the driving without suspended license, that will remain the same. They'll still have the guilty plea and be sentenced according to what the state said. But then on the second case, he no longer wishes to enter a plea of no contest on that case. He'd like to enter a plea of not guilty. And we would like to argue an immunity motion on the next motions trial or calendar, if at all possible. And I could get it filed today.
All right. That's good. All right, Mr. Moore, just remember what I'm telling you, okay? Whatever decision you make, just make sure that you're thinking not in the moment, but in the long term. Like, what does this decision mean if I walk away versus I get into it with somebody? What does this decision mean for my children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? All right.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, you can go back with the sheriff's office. Thank you. Oh, wait, I didn't pronounce sentence on the first one. I'm sorry. Mr. Moore, on the first case, 2021 CR 02566 for driving on a suspended or revoked license. It's a guilty plea, 12 months, 10 days. Balance will be probated to pay a fine in the amount of $1,500. I don't have the surcharges on that, but it's going to be closer to $1,800, $1,900 because of the surcharges. If you need that changed into community service hours, you can do that. Just ask your probation officer and they can communicate with me about that. All right.
And Your Honor,
I know you've been in, so you may not have steady employment right now. Yes, ma'am.
would the court accept jail time, or the state accept jail time as well in lieu of the fine, considering that he's been in since the 9th, and then he will at least be in at the very least until probably at least the 23rd or 24th.
Ms. Janvier?
I'm sorry, what was her request for it to be community service?
Well, for the $1,500 fine to be commuted to jail time.
No, because he just keeps driving. Just keep driving that car.
Mr. Moore, why you can't get your license? Talk to me.
I have a lot of fleeing to eludes on my record.
Oh my God. That's when you were younger, right? And you're not doing that anymore.
No, ma'am, that's why I've been to prison the last 2 times.
Mr. White, first of all, obviously you're not eluding. You keep getting caught.
No,
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you, bro. Sometimes we can't all be NASCAR.
I don't mean to brag or nothing, but I did get away. They told on me 3 days later through Crime Stoppers.
Lord, I have met a Crime Stopper celebrity. Mr. Moore, let me tell you something, sir. You can't win this game because eventually they're gonna get you. Okay?
I know.
And then fleeing to elude is something you do in your 20s and your teens. You got kids.
I know.
All right? You don't want your kids out there saying, yeah, run from the police. That's a good idea.
I know, and I'm trying to change it right now because my son just turned 15.
Oh, my Lord. He needs you now more than ever.
No,
And he definitely, and let me tell you something, Mr. Moore, when you have the opportunity to sit down and talk to your son, be honest with him. Daddy messed up. This is not the path I would advise you to go on. Don't make it, I didn't make it look good.
we've already had that conversation. I told him he's not cut like this and he does not want to do this.
Exactly. And keep telling him because you want to give him a better life than you've got.
That's right.
We all do. No matter how good our lives are, we always want our kids to have a better life. You got me?
Yes,
all right. So, all right, you can go back with the sheriff's office. Probation is going to talk to you about the fine or the community service, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, Mr. Moore. All right. Let me know what y'all got next.
Yeah, it's probation.
Yeah, he needs probation. Bless his heart.
Ray Love.
Ray Love.
Weldon.
Brother Love.
Love, Weldon, and Williams.
We got Love, Weldon, and Williams.
They're all ready, I believe, Your Honor. Right, Judge?
Okay. Well, let's start with Mr.
I think Jones went to get Love.
I mean, I believe he went to go get Williams,
Oh,
Your Honor,
never
due to
mind.
her being the only female left.
Okay, that's fine.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
for the case ending in 10757, she's entering a no contest plea to both counts. And for the case ending in 10786, it's a no contest plea as well, Your Honor.
Okay. Were these in the pipeline or why are we back so soon?
I'm sorry?
These were in the pipeline, I guess, right?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I believe when she last appeared, I was in Judge Jones Parker, so I'm not sure when she was last here.
Okay. All right, Ms. Williams, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true. All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2023 CR 10757 for Aswadat Williams. And I'm sure I did not pronounce that properly, but I apologize. And for criminal trespass and disorderly conduct, and on case 2023 CR 10786 for public transportation, public transit violation, you're entering a plea of NOLO. So by entering pleas of NOLO to counts 1 and 2 on the first case and count 1 on the second case, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am? All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On January 7th of 2023, an officer, while on duty at the Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport, where the incident occurred in Clayton County, observed the defendant, Ms. Williams, to be in the airport during non-operational hours. She was asked if she had a boarding pass or if she had an SIDA ID. She refused to display either the plane ticket or the employee badge. The officers told her that she needed to go to MARTA. She does not have those documents. And she said, take me to jail. So they took her into custody. The state is recommending for count 1, 12 months to serve 30 days. Credit for the time that she has served. The balance to be suspended. Do not return to the airport even if she is ticketed. Count 2, 12 months to serve 30 days. Credit for time served to run concurrent with count 1. The balance to be suspended. Pending.
Excuse me.
No new violations, Bushy. No new violations. For the case ending in 10786 on November the 8th of 2023, while an officer on duty at the airport MARTA station of the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, when incident occurred in Clayton County, was attempting to push through the fare gate. She was advised she had to pay to gain entry, but she continued to try to push through the gate and not pay, and she was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 30 days. The balance to be suspended as long as she complies with the MARTA suspension. That is until February the 5th of 2024.
Excuse me, Mr. White. I don't know what what got me.
Your Honor, we just ask that you accept the negotiated pleas.
All right, Ms. Williams, on the case ending in 10757. Oh, 1 second. All right, on the case ending in 10757, ma'am, I'm going to accept your plea of nolo. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 30 days on count 1, credit for time served, balance suspended as long as you do not go back to Hartsfield, Jackson, Atlanta International Airport. Even if you have a ticket for travel, you need to travel from some other airport, not this one, during the next 12 months. On count 2, I'll accept your nolo plea, 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served, balance suspended, as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. Count 2 will run concurrent with count 1. On the case ending 10786, I'll accept the plea of nolo, 12 months to serve 30 days, balance suspended, as long as you observe the MARTA suspension, which will be in effect until February 5th of 2024. You cannot use MARTA or be on any MARTA premises until February 6th of 2024. And that will run concurrent with the case ending in 10757. All right, you can go back with the sheriff's office, ma'am. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yeah.
All right, you can put your hand down. Is this Mr. Love or Mr. Weldon?
Mr. Weldon, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Weldon, you've been busy. Sir, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Marquez Keontae Weldon, 2021 CR 06077 for striking a fixed object. Case 2022 CR 00859 for marijuana 1 ounce or less and improper lane change. Case 2023 CR 05016 for no insurance and no license or class violation. And case 2023 CR 06200 for reckless conduct. You're represented by Mr. Justin White, who's with you here at the podium. Mr. White has indicated that you wish to enter a plea on the first case ending in 06077 of guilty. On the next case, 00859 for count 1 will be no pros, count 2 will be guilty. On the case ending in 05016, both of those will be nolo pleas. And on the case ending in 06200, guilty. All right, by entering these pleas, Mr. Weldon, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And sir, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, factual basis and recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. For the case ending in 06077, on March 17th of 2021, an officer was dispatched to Roundtree Road and Robin Lane, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. It was in reference to a vehicle collision. The officer came into contact with Mr. Weldon, who advised that another truck came into his lane and he swerved to hit that truck and lost control of his vehicle and struck an object. The state is recommending for count 1, 12 months to serve 10 days. Credit for the time that he has served, the balance to be suspended. For the case ending in 00859, on January 22nd of 2022, an officer observed a motor vehicle at 7308 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia, traveling down the road at a high rate of speed, then watched the vehicle attempt to avoid traffic by doing an improper lane change. That time, the officer initiated a traffic stop, made contact. The driver was determined to be Mr. Weldon, and the defendant advised that he had marijuana in the glove box. The state is recommending for count 1 to be no pros, count 2 to be 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for the time served, the balance to be suspended. For the case ending in 05016, on March 4th of 2023, while on duty at Flint River Road and Wesley Park Drive, an officer observed a motorcycle being operated by the defendant that was determined to not have valid insurance. Traffic stop was initiated. It was determined that the defendant did not have the proper license. The state is recommending for count 1, a $200 fine to be suspended, and for count 2, 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for the time served, the balance to be suspended. For the case ending in 06200, on October 25th of 2022, an officer responded to 167 Indian Lake Drive in Morrow, Georgia, where the incident occurred in Clayton County. It's in reference to a person being shot. The officer arrived on the scene and observed a female walking towards him. It appeared that she had blood coming from under her hand. The officer made contact with the defendant, Mr. Weldon, and relieved him of the firearm. The victim's name is Miss Diamond Dunham, Dunham, and she advised that her ex-boyfriend, the defendant, was coming over to get keys. So the victim said that he knocked on the door but didn't get a response, but heard loud music in the house, and then shot the gun through the window. The defendant advised that he has PTSD and woke up from his sleep to sounds of gunshots.
Were you? Go ahead, Miss Genevieve.
He was taken into custody for recklessly firing the firearm through the window. The state has recommended 12 months to serve 20 days to be consecutive to the first case. the balance to be probated a gun safety course and 80 hours of community service, and he would have to forfeit the weapon. That would be a Glock 17 9mm, serial number XGB922.
That Glock 17 is a nice gun. I have one. It's good for people who know how to use it and who are trained in how to use it and secure it, not for people just walking around doing crazy stuff. Now, let's talk. How old are you, Mr. Weldon?
24.
Mr. Weldon, you're 24 years old. Were you in the military? Why do you have PTSD?
Well, it was an incident that occurred at my house, and someone broke in and they was looking for my brother, and they shot my house up at night. And
Okay, that'll do it. Are you getting any treatment
any treatment?
for the PTSD?
No,
You
ma'am.
need some. Mr. Let me tell you something, Mr. Weldon. If you recognize that you have an issue, then if you walk around without getting it treated, so people always talk about, well, it's a mental health thing, and I don't want nobody to think I'm weak. If you had high blood pressure or diabetes, would you get treatment at a hospital?
You will get the proper treatment for it.
Yeah, you would, or you would die. Or you would lose some limbs or something. Diabetes, high blood pressure, all of those things that run, especially in the Black community, we're real familiar with that. People go to the doctor, they take their medicine, they can live a good life. What I say to people is stop thinking of other things as shameful. You have a condition, just like if you had high blood pressure. Go get some help for the PTSD. So many people, especially anybody who would say, oh, well, man, you don't need to do all that. They haven't been through a trauma. Trauma is what keeps you from healing and keeps you coming before me. Miss Dunham, I don't care what the situation was. She ain't deserved to have her house shot up.
It was, I don't mean to cut you off. It was the opposite way around. She came to my house at the middle of the night, and she was shooting outside of my house. And once I woke up, my daughter, she started screaming, and that's what woke me up. And once I got up, I didn't know who was outside my house. I just heard gunshots, and I seen a shadow and shot, but she wasn't supposed to be around me. She had a stay away order.
Okay. Well, now, this is another thing that I'm concerned about. So you have a daughter. You need to be in your best mindset, especially if you have a gun around your daughter. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That I took a gun safety course before I ever picked up a gun. Took a gun safety course, went to the right range before I ever got my own gun. I knew I had done what was necessary, that if I was around somebody, I could keep them and myself safe from me not being reckless and stupid. But you got a young child, and let me tell you, I'm considerably older now, but I was maybe 9 when I first heard about a child about my age at the time getting killed with a gun. Kid went over to their friend's house. The friend was showing off their parents' gun and ended up shooting the kid. And that happens so much. It happens more than you know. But if you don't secure your gun, if you don't teach your kids that guns are not something to play with, if you don't make sure that they can't have access to them, if you don't make sure that you're not using them in a safe way, then you could very well put your daughter in danger, or any of her friends, or any of your nieces and nephews. So what I'm saying to you, sir, is get some help for the PTSD.
Yes, ma'am.
Get some help. And the second thing is, take the gun safety course seriously. Okay? Take it seriously. Learn how to properly use a gun, because you're about to forfeit a nice gun that you're not going to get back. And I'm going to give you these sentences, but you got to start thinking about how you want to live. You're 24 years old. You got one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing. This ain't how you want to live your life.
Yes, ma'am. You
don't want to keep coming back in an orange jumpsuit. I promise you, this is not how you want to live your life. And if you messing with people who crazy enough to come up outside your house knowing what you went through, that's probably not your girl. That's probably not the right person for you. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't date the difficult people. Don't date the crazy people. Date people who have some sense and some sensitivity. All right. They're out there. So on the first case, 2021 CR 06077, 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. That will run concurrent with 2022 CR 02859. Count 1 will be no pros. Count 2, 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. Case 2023 CR 05016. No, count 1 is a $200 fine, but that will be suspended for credit for time served. Count 2 is a 12 months to serve 10 days, credit for time served. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia, and that will run concurrent with 2021 CR 06077. The last case, 2023 CR 06200, will run consecutive to 2021 CR 06077. 12 months to serve 20 days. Balance will be probated for you to take a gun safety course, 80 hours of community service, and you're to forfeit the Glock 17 serial number given. And you're not to have any new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. Mr. Weldon, think very carefully. You're a dad now. It's a little early. I would have hoped that you might wait, because you want to enjoy your 20s, your mid to young 20s. That's the time you enjoy yourself and you do stuff. But when you take on the role of a father, then you take on a lot of responsibility and it changes how you live. But since you've done that, now you need to understand that every decision you make affects your child. Every single decision that you make affects whether she has a good life or a bad life. Whether she grows up with a father who dotes on her and turns her into the kind of woman who is a productive, wonderful citizen, or whether you mess her up for life. We're clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. There's too many fatherless children out here. They got fathers, but they're just not being fathers. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to set your child up for failure. All right. So you can go back with the sheriff's office. The probation expert is going to meet with you, and he's going to help you figure out how to get everything done. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The quickest way to get I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Judge.
Go ahead.
I just need a little clarification. The cases 22 and 23, the first 23, they're concurrent with the 21, and then the last 23 is consecutive?
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I think we have Love last.
Yes, Your Honor. He's coming right now.
Okay. We're sure Mr. Love is ready?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Love, how you doing?
All right.
Raise your right hand for me. Raise your right hand for me, sir.
Right here, this one?
Right.
Yeah. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Love, you can put your hand down. Mr. Ray Love, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Ray Love, 023 CR 10768 for public transportation violation. You're entering a plea of guilty. You're with your attorney, Mr. White, Justin White, who's with you. By entering a plea of guilty, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Mr. Love?
Yeah.
All right. Factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On February the 2nd of 2023, while on duty of the Atlanta Hartsfield Water Station, officer observed the defendant, Mr. Love, enter a paid area by pushing through the fare gate, and to avoid paying the required fare, he made no attempt to pay the fare. And when it was unable to provide a breeze card or valid verification, he was taken into custody. The state is recommending 12 months to serve 30 days, the balance to be suspended pending no new violations of the law.
All right, Mr. Love, I'm going to accept your plea of guilty. I'll send you to 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. Does he have a MARTA suspension or is he good?
Your Honor, the suspension is already gone through.
Okay. All right, Mr. Love, don't make no mess on the subway, sir, on the MARTA. Come on now. You got that?
Yeah.
All right, you can go back with the sheriff's office.
Do I have a hole? I got a hole, you think?
Yes. I don't know where.
Huh?
He was asking if he had a hold, Your Honor, and my understanding is he does, but I don't know where.
Yeah, Mr. Love, I can't do anything about that. It's not my hold. All right?
All right.
Take care.
Jail can tell you where your hold is located at.
Where?
No, I said the jail can.
All right, anybody else need anything?
I believe that's it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you all so much. Miss John V.
Yeah.
I need
Your
you
Honor.
to take care of yourself.
Your Honor.
Yes?
We had one more, Mr. Beckham.
Oh, did I miss that?
He should have been on the calendar for today. Miss Wright put him on.
Now Brown, nope. I got Brown, Canis. Is he the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy Jones is checking. We don't have him, do we?
I don't have a Beckham.
We don't have
Okay. I will verify with Miss Wright then. And if not, I will do an order to send to you, Judge, on behalf
All right,
of Mr.
that
Beckham.
sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Your Honor, can I ask you about
Hey, I'm back, sir. I'm sorry.
Can you ask me about what, Miss Janvier?
Mr. Strong? Were we able to get in contact with
No, I'm not gonna do a bench warrant for I'm gonna do a bench warrant because I think that it must be some kind of miscommunication. And I don't want to punish him for what I guess his lawyer's not doing. But if if anybody can get in touch with Mr. Melvin Raines, and let's see if we can figure out what the issue is with getting him into, because it's not that DUI court's not accepting him. You got to do the application first. And so if that's not happening, we need to figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna reset it for a couple of weeks, Judge.
Thanks, Miss Val. All right. Miss Janvier, I need your people to take care of you. Do I need to send an order?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. I'll send an order because my people had to take care of me this week. And thank goodness my mama was here because I've been eating good.
We gonna eat good on Thursday?
Huh?
Then we gonna eat good on Thursday?
Oh, we definitely gonna eat good on Thursday. We might have to send Miss Janvier a plate. I hope you're there, but if not, we'll have some deliveries. All right, well, take care. All right. I'll see y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See y'all Thursday.
Okay. Ms. Hahn, you got anything on Rennie on Bow on Salter for me?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a plea ready for if we could do Ball first, then Rennie.
All right.
And
Ms.
then
Ball, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I should have a plea for Ms. Salter. I just haven't gone over her rights with her, but it should be 3 pleas for all of those people.
All right, Ms. Ball, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down, ma'am. You're before the court on State of Georgia versus Miss Maisha LaShawn Bow, 2021 CR 05838 for 1 count of speeding, 1 count of no proof of insurance, 1 count, count 3, no license, count 4, driving on a suspended or revoked license, and count 5, following too closely. Ms. Hahn, what is your client plea to the offenses before the court?
Your Honor, that'll be guilty to count 1, guilty to count 3, and nolo to count 5. The state has agreed to null pros counts 2 and 4.
All right. So by entering a plea of guilty to counts 1 and 3 and nolo to count 5, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you are not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The factual basis in this case is that on March 6, 2021, Officer Square was conducting a traffic stop on a black 2013 Chevy Cruze on I-285 near Riverdale Road here in Clayton County. He initially pulled the vehicle over for speeding that he confirmed with his LiDAR as a 91 and a 65. He did run the tag through dispatch. It did come back with active insurance and valid registration. Upon making contact with the driver, who was identified as Maisha Ball, the officer advised her the reason of the stop. She stated that she didn't realize how fast she was driving and she was trying to hurry up and get her kids home. The officer did observe that there were 2 juveniles in the back seat. He requested her driver's license and insurance information. The defendant then stated that she did not have a driver's license because it was suspended. He had her write her name down and checked her information through the system, and he did confirm through GCIC that she had a suspended license for an implied consent refusal and an FTA in 2020. She was then placed under arrest. The recommendation on count 1 is 12 months probation and $500 fine, a defensive driving course. Count 2 will be dismissed. Count 3 is the 2nd and 5. No license, so it's a $1,000 fine. Count 4 will be dismissed. Count 5 is a $100 fine. And the balance may suspend upon completion.
All right. Ms. Hahn?
Your Honor, we ask that you accept the state's recommendation. Ms. Ball let me know that she does live out of state. So just wanted the court to know that she should be doing her meeting her requirements for the DDS course, I guess, online, and then if she could report to probation via phone or mail.
All right, so yeah, Ms. Val, I don't want you to just pick something off of Google because I don't know what those people teach. If you go to where you say you're in Ohio,
yes. Excuse me. Yes.
Do you currently have a license?
No, not right now. I didn't think I could go to the Ohio thing with this pending, so I didn't think I could do that.
Okay. Well, what I need you to do is contact Ohio, go to their website and find out if they have driver improvement courses that are offered, that are approved through the state of Ohio. Usually they will list the driver improvement courses on the website for the Department of Driver Services or the License Bureau, whatever they call it in Ohio. Go and get one of those courses as opposed to just Googling anything and wasting your money. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And ma'am, you got kids and you were grown at the time of this. How you speeding knowing you driving dirty and you speeding to get home with your kids in the car? I mean, there were so many mistakes.
I know. Ma'am, it's not an excuse. But one of the kids was a friend of mine's kid who was leaving my grandkid's birthday party, and he has autism, and he was going off in the car. And
but that has none of that.
I was just trying to get. I said it's no excuse, but that was what happened.
You drove to the party, so there's no excuse for that. You were driving with no license.
Yeah, I didn't
Just
drive
tooling
fast to the
around.
party.
So what I'm saying to you is, you being driving with no license ain't got nothing to do with no autistic baby and a birthday
No, the
party.
reason I was speeding, that was the reason I was speeding. But
but you was just carefully driving with no license.
truthfully, yes.
I don't understand.
I was going back and forth to work. I usually don't go anywhere. I worked like 4 minutes away. I didn't have the money at the time, and I had just getting back and forth to work. And then my son and my daughter-in-law came here from North Carolina and did the Chuck E. Cheese thing, and I drove over there. It was the time I didn't go just to work. I went over there. I shouldn't have been driving. But you could have gotten
stopped going just to work.
I know. I prayed. I would just pray. I said, as long as
Lord,
I'm doing the
help
right
me
thing.
do something illegal.
No, I'm just
I'm just trying to figure out what that prayer looked like.
I was like, Lord,
Dear
please
Lord,
just let me get to work safely.
I know I'm riding dirty
home.
and I don't have a license, but please help me to continue to do something wrong.
It didn't end
Lord
like
into
that.
too many things. Now I'm just saying, we bring the Lord into too many things.
I understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying.
All right, ma'am. So I'm going to accept your plea guilty to counts 1, 3, no low to 5. Counts 2 and 4 will be no pros. On count 1, it's 12 months probation to pay a fine in the amount of $500. That'll be $737.50 with the surcharges. And you're to take an approved course under the Ohio Department of Driver Services or License Bureau for driver improvement. Then count 3 will run concurrent with count 1, 12 months probation to pay an additional amount of fine in the amount of $1,000. It's $1,420 with the surcharges. Yes, ma'am. That's the cost of doing wrong.
Yeah,
and then count 5 is a $100 fine. Ms. Williams, did you say that one was suspended?
No, ma'am. I did not.
Okay.
But
So it's a $100 fine. It'll be $151.50 with the surcharges, and you'll have 12 months to complete all of the fines, fees.
Well, she looked like she was gonna say it was.
She looked like she was gonna say something. All right, Ms. Williams, go ahead. What was she gonna say?
I would, given the amount of her fines, I was willing to suspend the $100 on count 5, considering she did go to jail.
Bless your heart, Ms. Williams. All right. So the $100 fine is suspended. All right, ma'am. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Miss Nybal. She's Nyban. She's going to speak with you about probation and get you signed up. You can do probation by phone or mail. It is by mail. So just make sure you understand that clearly. Phone, it doesn't work because they have way too many cases to be answering the phone calls. So I'm going to put you she's in a breakout room with Mr. Sykes at this time. When she is finished, then I'll go ahead and put you in that breakout room. So if you just hold on for me, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the 1 o'clock calendar, I didn't forget you. I just need to knock these cases out because your calendar is going to be real quick. So just let me knock this out for a minute, and then I'll come to the 1 o'clock calendar. All right. So, Mr. Rennie, you're before the court on 2022 CR 01906. Terrell Demetrio Rennie, represented by Ms. Chelsea Hahn for criminal trespass. Ms. Hahn, what is your client plea to the offenses before the court?
Your Honor, that's going to be, I'm sorry. It should be no low to 1 count of criminal trespass, my understanding.
All right. By entering a plea of nolo, sir, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, factual basis recommendation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The factual basis in this case is that on January 6, 2021, Officer Square was working an approved part-time job at Laurel Point Apartments, 225 Johnson Road here in Clayton County, when he was flagged down by a Betzavet, Betzabet, Frederick, who stated that her ex-husband and the father of her children, Mr. Terrell Rennie, stabbed her vehicle tires. She said that he had come over to talk about family-related issues involving their daughters, and they began to arguing, at which point the defendant then left the home. The victim locked the door and walked back into the living room. And that's when their oldest daughter ran down the stairs, informing her that her father had just stabbed the rear tire with a sharp object and left the apartment. The victim then went outside and saw that her rear passenger tire had been cut. The recommendation is 12 months, 2 days to serve, credit for the time he spent in custody, the balance probated, a $300 fine. No restitution is being requested, 40 hours of community service, and for the defendant not to return to the incident location and to have no contact with the victim. No violent contact.
All right. Ms. Hahn?
Your Honor, we ask that you accept the state's recommendation.
All right. So, Mr. Rennie, what kind of man disables the car that might have to take his child someplace that she would need to go? Imagine if something happened on that day and your child needed to go somewhere and her mother wasn't able to take her because you done stabbed the tires of the car. Where are we getting this thing where we can disrespect the people that we have children with? You gonna disable the mama, the kid, and cause her stress and money and all of that, and then leave her in a situation where if something happened with your child and she had to get there quick, she couldn't even do that?
You're absolutely right, Your Honor. Actually, it was a mistake that is costing me now. We actually got into an altercation, but I learned my lesson.
I mean, walking away is cheap and easy.
You're absolutely right.
All right, so I'm going to accept your plea of nolo. I'll send you to 12 months to serve 3 days credit for time served. Balance will be probated for you to pay a fine in the amount of $300. That's going to be $444 with the surcharges to do 40 hours of community service, and you're not to go back to the incident location, and you're to have no violent or harassing contact with, what's her name again? You're muted.
Bexabet.
Yes, Betzabet.
And Your Honor, I forgot to ask prior. Mr. Rennie just let me know he got laid off. We're asking that the probation supervision fees.
What now?
Mr. Rennie just let me know that he was recently laid off, so we're asking that the probation supervision fees be waived.
I'll waive them for 3 months.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Rennie, I got to put Miss Ba in a breakout room for probation. But after that, I'm going to put you in the breakout room for probation. So if you will hold on.
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Sure.
The probation is 12 months, but if I complete all of that, the probation will be ended, or I have to do the 12 months?
12 months.
Your Honor, I have terminated upon completion on my recommendation.
Oh, okay. Well, if they recommend terminate upon completion, that's fine. I wouldn't do it, but if they agreed to it, I'm fine with it.
I don't have that on my recommendation. That was sent in discovery.
That's what I discussed with Ms. Janvier.
All right, Miss Ball. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Zeitz, but he's been in there plenty enough time to where you can talk to Miss Nyball now, so you can go on in.
Excuse me, Judge Hayward?
Yes.
Hey, this is Melissa. I'm filling in for lunch. Can I get that incident address so I can add it on the sentence, please?
Okay, Miss Williams, go ahead. Thank you, Miss Melissa.
It is 225 Johnson Road. It should be Laurel Point Apartments.
All
And
right.
just to clarify, he only served 2 days in jail, Your Honor, not 3.
All right,
So
2 days credit for time, sir.
yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Rennie, if you'll hold on, we'll get you in a breakout room with the probation intake. She's now doing Ms. Bow and Mr. Zeit.
And Your Honor, so the offer that I gave my client was the terminate upon completion. So I'm not sure if he still wants to accept the offer if the probation doesn't terminate. We had a meeting on Friday. Discuss like.
All right, I'll suspend, but he can still have no violent or harassing contact with Miss Betsabet.
Okay, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, anything else, Ms. Hahn?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a plea ready with Ms. Salter.
All right. Can you bring her out?
Yes.
Huh?
Deputy Jones is bringing her out. And then, Your Honor, also Miss Cowling.
Yeah, what happened? Why is Miss Cowling here? Where did we miss her? Which calendar was that on?
Your Honor, that was the my client who I had initially said at the 10 o'clock that she said that she didn't receive notice. I told her to log on via Zoom, and she has been logged on for a while now.
Okay.
But we're ready for a plea, Your Honor, on that one.
All right. All right. Okay, so Salter, raise your right hand for me, ma'am. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. You're before the court on 2022 CR 00237. Tamara Nikala Salter. You're before the court represented by Ms. Hahn, Chelsea Hahn. The charges are fray. What is your client plead to a fray?
Nolo, Your Honor.
By entering a plea of nolo, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses. You understand all of these things?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis recommendation, please.
Okay, yes, ma'am. The factual basis in this case was that on July 8th, 2021, Officer Khatib responded to 5724 Riverdale Road here in Clayton County in response to a disturbance involving a group of females and a male who were fighting in a parking lot. Upon arrival, the officer saw 5 females and 1 male in front of Building F arguing loudly as if to start fighting or as if they had just finished fighting. Officers eventually separated the group and made contact with Alexia Baker, who stated that Tamara Salter, the defendant, told her to pull up to her at her apartment to fight her over a boy. She also stated that the defendant made threats to kill her. She then advised that the defendant came up to the apartment, Miss Baker advised that she came to the apartment and the defendant walked outside and they started verbally arguing. To that point, the defendant hit her in the face and they started fighting in front of the building. The officers had observed Alexia with the ripped shirt but did not observe any injuries to her face. The officers then made contact with the defendant, who also advised that the fight was over a boy, and they were fighting until somebody was able to separate them. The recommendation is 12 months, 30 days to serve, and balance suspended upon the completion of her service.
All right. Ms. Salter?
Yes.
How much money did the boy put on your books?
You said how much money what?
Did he put on your books?
What
the boy you was fighting over. How much money did he put on your books since you've been in jail?
He did.
Okay. But at the time that this all happened, he was supposed to be your boyfriend or her boyfriend?
No, I was single at the time.
Okay, so why is y'all pulling up, quote unquote, to fight each other over a boy?
I didn't fight over a boy. It was just self-defense. It was just because she pulled up on me and wanted to fight.
Y'all just decided y'all didn't like each other. What does children say? On site? And so it was just like, we just gonna fight?
I guess I was in my home.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Ms. Salter,
Yes.
what is it? What's your goal for life? Well, how old are you, first of all?
To be a singer.
Huh?
To sing.
How to sing?
Yeah.
To sing what?
Might just be a singer.
You sing?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing that's not gonna happen is any band that will hire you, because my husband has a band and he's always looking for singers, but any band that will hire you is not gonna hire you with tattoos on your face, because they make money by entertaining people who pay a lot of money to hear a band. And the people who pay a lot of money, they don't want nobody with tattoos on their face. I'm just saying, I'm gonna be honest with you. So if you actually have a talent for singing, you better get used to covering up those tattoos, because that's not going to go over well where people will actually pay you to sing. How old are you?
24.
What are you doing prior to coming to jail?
Taking care of my kids and working.
How many kids you got?
2.
Okay. Is somebody helping you with your kids?
Yes, my baby dad, mom.
Okay, and she has your kids now while you're in jail?
Yes.
All right, Miss Salter, those children do not deserve to not have their mama around, especially over some foolishness. Pull up, we gonna fight. I'm gonna meet you in the parking lot. All that foolishness. Sometimes that ends up going way, way wrong, because there have been people who've been killed with that. So you go out to pull up and you tell somebody to pull up and you go out to the parking lot and you don't go back. So your kids end up without you. There's way too many of those stories. You ain't got nothing to prove to nobody else. So fighting somebody, especially over some boy, that don't make a bit of sense, especially when you got kids that need you. That's your priority. Not whether somebody says something nasty to you or whether somebody said they dating a boy that you supposed to be dating. First of all, he ain't yours unless he there helping you with them kids. We clear?
Yes.
All right. He ain't yours unless he's somewhere with you helping to make your life easier. We clear?
Yes.
So he ain't worth nothing to fight over. Ms. Salters, you got 2 kids to worry about. You say you want to be a singer. That is a particular skill set. It ain't just about having the voice to do it. It's about having the ability to market yourself, having the ability to learn songs and know songs and arrangements and notes and all of that. It's a hard job. It's not easy. I sing, and I don't sing good enough to go out with my husband's band. I sing good enough to help him arrange the music while we at the house. But when he hits the road, he got real singers who can put on a performance and they get paid. But if that's not what you're going to be able to do in life, then you need to get a practical job and raise these kids and stop being out here in these streets, because you spending time in jail and you missing time with your kids. I don't care who's got them. You don't know your kids are okay until you got your eyes on them. And for 30 days, you don't have your eyes on your kids. You don't know what's going on. People could tell you anything. And as a mother, that's a failure. As a mother, that is a failure. We clear?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to accept your plea of nolo. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 30 days. You'll complete your sentence. The balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. And you can go back with the sheriff's office at this time. But think about the fact that while you in here, you don't know what's going on with your kids. And maybe that'll keep you from coming back. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
To clarify, my client says she's been in custody for over 30 days. So I just
all right. Well, if she's been in, I'll give her credit. If she served 30 days, she'll get credit since date of lockup.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Who else we got? Did you
I think
confirm?
she's being held on felonies too, so I think that might be what she's talking about.
Oh, well, bless her heart.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating insights into the world of law and justice by Judge Tammi. Thanks for watching, everyone.